Chapter 326 Expert. Good. Then I don't have to call the cops, said Tang Xiu, but if they dare to trouble us again, I'll clean them up myself. Now, give us another box and serve a table with food and wine. Let them pay for it. All right. The middle-aged woman never imagined that Tang Xiu would be so easy to talk to, as she immediately cast him a grateful expression. One must know that, were this incident to be reported to the police, it would certainly impact their restaurant's reputation. On one hand, she said she would call the police and try to compensate Tang Xiu and his friends. While on the other hand, she had also intended to invite Tang Xiu have a private talk, to see whether she could reduce and melt this big problem into a minor matter. A moment after, the badly beaten middle-aged man left with his underlings, whereas Tang Xiu and the others moved to another bright and spacious box. After taking a seat, Zhao Liang raised his thumb and exclaimed with an excited expression, "Eldest brother Tang, you're just so great. I was preoccupied with how to ward off those guys, but without me realizing it, you had unknowingly knocked them down." Also wearing an excited look on his face, Yu Kai spoke while rubbing his arm that got hit by a steel pipe. "True that. I was preparing to a desperate fight and got preoccupied with the other people, so I couldn't see clearly what you were doing. Eldest brother Tang, how did you do that? You can't be a martial arts expert like those in wuxia novels, can you?" "Nope. I'm not martial arts expert," shaking his head, Tang Xiu said, "I'm just practicing some flowery boxing. I'm not an opponent for true experts. But, beating some gangsters isn't a problem for me. They wanted to beat us, hence we can use everything we have for self-defense, like smashing plates at them. So, naturally, we can beat them with a clear conscience." Hu Qingsong's face flickered. He patted Tang Xiu's shoulder and said, "Since they call you the eldest, I'll call you that too. I won't say thanks for this great favor. But since you, the eldest, has stood up for me today, I, Hu Qingsong, will engrave this favor in my mind. If you have some problems in the future, whatever it is, just look for me. I will do my best to help out. It's just a trivial thing." "Never mind it," laughed Tang Xiu. "No," Hu Qingsong shook his head and said, "Were it not because of you, perhaps I would have ended up badly today. It was my carelessness. I never thought that after I beat them, they would secretly follow me here. Come on, I won't say thanks. Though the food have yet to come, let's get these 2 bottles of wine first. Let me thank you with a toast. Come. Cheers." Yu Kai and Zhao Liang also got up. The unexpected fight, sharing hardship in the crisis, it made the relationship between the four much closer. Furthermore, for youngsters hanging out together, random topics were endless. After the meal, the 4 young men left the restaurant with arms around each other's shoulders after getting a little drunk. Quite a drinker himself, Hu Qingsong had drunk a bottle of booze by himself, yet he was more sober than Yu Kai and Zhao Liang. Looking at the both of them swaying, Hu Qingsong looked at Tang Xiu and asked, "Eldest brother Tang, where are we going now?" "Let's go back to campus and send them directly to the dormitory to sleep," said Tang Xiu. "That's the only option left," Hu Qingsong nodded and said, "I didn't expect Yu Kai to have such a good liquor capacity, though. Yet, Zhao Liang didn't even drink half a bottle and still turned out like this. People say that Northeasterners can drink well. I did experience it today," chuckled Tang Xiu. "Eldest brother Tang, don't flatter me. Though I can drink more than a bottle of booze and still stand up, I'm far worse compared to you. I paid attention when we were drinking, you drank more than me, yet it did nothing to you. I suspect that you won't get drunk even if you drink 1 more bottle." Tang Xiu couldn't help laughing, saying, "If I really gulp down another bottle, I'm afraid that you won't have to support only 2 people, but 3. If we get another idle day again, let's have a battle," laughed Hu Qingsong. Tang Xiu shook his head and grabbed the car key from Yu Kai's pocket. After opening the door and forcefully stuffing the 2 young men into the back seat, he then sat in the front seat and said with a smile, "Hey, what are you dazing for? Get on board. Is this your car? Asked Hu Qingsong aloud as he sat on the co-pilot seat with astonishment. Nope, it's Yu Kai's, said Tang Xiu. He's a second-generation nouveau riche. It seems like these brothers of ours can go flirting with chicks everywhere smoothly. It's a BMW, dude. Holy cow, a student riding on BMW, TSK, tisk. Tang Xiu smiled as he started the car and quickly left. The duo had been sent back to the dormitory. Tang Xiu's last dorm mate had yet to come, however, the other 3 students from the opposite dorm had all arrived. Tang Xiu and the 3 students greeted each other, and after a short introduction, they returned to their dormitory. Brother Tang, do you have any plans this afternoon? Asked Hu Qingsong curiously. I do. I'll go out and stroll around. It's my first time in Shanghai, so I'm gonna take in the view. There won't be much time to go out and stroll around when the new term begins, said Tang Xiu with a smile. Eldest brother Tang, I heard you're the CET science subject's top scorer in Shuangqing province. The top student-level protagonist, Seems like you're ready to take the military drill subject ahead of time and then transfer to Shanghai all the way through. I presume you'll be staying on campus afterward? It should be, if there's no accident, said Tang Xiu. Then I'll accompany you strolling around. I got nothing to do in the afternoon anyway, said Hu Qingsong. After a moment's silence, Tang Xiu slowly said, Yu Kai said before that he and Zhao Liang would gather in their dormitory this evening. I myself will be doing something at that time, so I'm afraid I can't participate. If you go with me, I'm afraid you won't have the time to attend the party. Hu Qingsong hesitated for a moment and then said, I won't attend it then. Anyhow, it's still early and there is much time left. It's all right to drink together all day. Let's stroll outside first and get some fresh air. Eldest brother Tang, you know what? Since I boarded the train to Shanghai, I felt like I was flying high in the sky, like a fish swimming in the ocean, no longer feeling controlled by my old man. Tang Xiu looked at him and calmly said, having someone always looking after you is better than having nobody who is always concerned and asks you to strive to better yourself. Be content, buddy. Hu Qingsong stared blankly for a moment as he stared at Tang Xiu with a strange expression. He suddenly pointed at Yu Kai's car key and asked, won't we take the car? No, Tang Xiu shook his head and said, it's Yu Kai's car. He might go out when he wakes up in the afternoon, and will probably need it when he goes out in the evening. Let's take a cab. Okay. Hu Qingsong nodded. Tang Xiu and Hu Qingsong strolled around for the whole afternoon. The duo went to the Bund, visited Huangpu River, and climbed up the Oriental Pearl Tower. They drank coffee in Nanjing Road and then went to the city god temple to burn incense, and then visited the Yu Garden and the Shanghai Science and Technology Museum. As evening arrived, Tang Xiu received a call from Han Qingwu. Where are you, Tang Xiu? Han Qingwu's voice came out of the phone, sounding particularly joyful. I'm with a classmate, as well as dorm mate, at the entrance of the Science and Technology Museum. We have been strolling around Shanghai and lost track of the time, said Tang Xiu with a smile. Science and Technology Museum? I know the place. Are you gonna wait for me there? Or shall we meet at another place for our dinner tonight? Go to Shanghai's Everlasting Feast Hall. We'll take a cab to catch up with you. All right, replied Han Qingwu. After putting away his mobile, Tang Xiu spoke to Hu Qingsong, Teacher Han and I have a dinner tonight. I have already picked the place, so let's go there now. Who's Teacher Han? Asked Hu Qingsong, confused. It's our class teacher in charge, Han Qingwu. Hu Qingsong was stunned. He looked at Tang Xiu with disbelief, exclaiming, the class teacher in charge, Han Qingwu, is having dinner with us? Are you kidding me? What's there to joke about? It's just dinner, what's the fuss for, said Tang Xiu with a smile. What? This is not worth the fuss? It's only the first day, yet you acted so fast. And your target is unexpectedly our teacher Han? Man, she's a hella beauty. Even my eyes were nearly unable to look straight the first time I saw her, said Hu Qingsong. Tang Xiu couldn't help laughing. Han Qingwu was actually my high school class teacher in charge. But I never imagined that she would suddenly transfer to Shanghai University, even also becoming our class's teacher in charge. In any case, we're just having dinner. With an inconceivable expression, Hu Qingsong said, I finally figured out why Yu Kai and Zhao Liang insisted to call you eldest brother Tang. It turns out that your flirting skill is so marvelous. Man, I never thought that even such a stunning beauty such as Teacher Han would have her heart captured by you. What a marvel. Oh, hail eldest brother Tang. Get lost. Tang Xiu cursed. At Shanghai's Everlasting Feast Hall. In front of the 5-storied octagonal restaurant was a large, well-maintained parking lot. There were 4 big men guarding the entrance of the Everlasting Feast Hall. Before the 4 big men, a welcoming lady in Cheongsam warmly greeted each arriving guest. Inside the restaurant. The first floor had a novel and interesting interior, with each area partitioned by screens and carved wood, along with a dining table inside each partition. On both sides were water spouts with sprinkled water being illuminated with 7 colored lights. A beautiful scene that was a sight to behold. Shanghai's Everlasting Feast Hall was under Tian Li's management. However, since she needed to shuttle back and forth between Jingmen Island, Hong Kong, Shanghai and Beijing, a deputy manager was appointed to manage the Shanghai and Beijing branches on her behalf. The deputy manager was also a core member of the Everlasting Feast Hall, Qi Nan. At present, Qi Nan had just come back from the outside and was watching the bustling scene in the restaurant while feeling rather helpless inside. She envied those companions of hers who stayed in Jingmen Island, since they were able to stay and cultivate with ease, as well as had occasional chance to carry out missions abroad. Chief Qi, the VIP lounge on the 4th floor has been opened. Miao Wenong from Haiqing came with a few of his friends. I have also sent the order to deliver all the good dishes and fine wines to him, said the hall manager as he greeted respectfully. VIP? Miao Wentong? Qi Nan was silent for a moment as she nodded and said, I see. Go busy yourself. I'll be there to have a toast with him shortly. All right. Chapter 327, VIP Among VIPs. As Qi Nan left the 1st floor hall, Tang Xiu and Hu Qingsong appeared at the entrance of the Everlasting Feast Hall. Hu Qingsong's bleeding nose and swollen face caused the 4 security guards of the Everlasting Feast Hall to focus their sights on them especially. Welcome, sirs. May I ask how many people are coming? A waitress greeted them, smiling. Tang Xiu's vision slowly cast a glance toward the interior and immediately nodded inwardly. The environment there was great, with a luxurious interior design and decoration. It appeared to be 2 grades higher than the Riverwood restaurant. 3. The boxes upstairs are nearly full. Would you like to have a seat on the 1st floor? Asked the waitress with a smile. No problem, said Tang Xiu. The duo quickly came to the dining table on the quiet side of the interior under the waitress's guidance. Though there were many visitors dining inside their separated boxes, it was rather quiet. Only faint cheering and toasts were heard from the lively banquets. Sirs, would you like to order the course now? No need. Please give us the special cuisines of the house. For non-vegetarian dishes and 2 veggies with soup would be fine, said Tang Xiu. Does you have any dietary restrictions? Asked the waitress with a smile. No, said Tang Xiu. The waitress slightly bowed and said, all right. Please wait for a while. As the waitress left, Hu Qingsong raised his thumb toward Tang Xiu and sighed in praise. Eldest brother Tang is truly impressive. This restaurant's grade is so high, yet you didn't ask for the menu and directly ordered special dishes. It seems you have deep pockets to win Teacher Han. Tang Xiu couldn't help laughing. Who said I have a deep pocket? We're all poor students. After we eat enough, the one paying should be Teacher Han, no? What? Hu Qingsong stilled with a disbelieving expression, saying, how can we make a woman treat us for a meal? Though she's a teacher and we are her students, we're only separated by a few years. Eldest brother Tang, if you don't have enough money, tonight's meal is on me. Male chauvinism. Tang Xiu secretly forced out a wry smile. What made him most speechless was that he didn't know he looked like someone who was short on money. Yu Kai, as well as Hu Qingsong, all thought he was poor. He didn't like to display a high profile, and he liked to show off his money even less. Hence, he didn't rectify Hu Qingsong's mistaken opinion about him. Instead, he said with a smile, I'm just joking with you. How can I allow Teacher Han to treat us? Anyhow, you don't have to pay. Just eat to your heart's content. Okay. In any case, just tell me if you need money, Hu Qingsong straightly replied and no longer mentioned about it. His family was made a lot more money than before, but it was his first time visiting such an upscale restaurant. Therefore, he didn't speak loudly and restrained his rough personality. Inside a VIP lounge on the 4th floor, Miao Wendong was drinking with some colleagues of his business circle. As they talked to each other, they were unlike laymen in the marketplace, who spoke in a blow-sky-high manner. Instead, they exchanged business information in a jovial mood. Knock, knock, underscore. The door was knocked, interrupting their conversation. Following that, the door was opened and Chi Nan came inside with a bright smile on her face carrying 2 bottles of wine. I didn't disturb everyone, did I? Asked Chi Nan with a smile. Upon seeing her, several Shanghai local businessmen exchanged dismayed looks, as astonishment was immediately cast on their faces. With the same amount of astonishment, Miao Wendong asked, You are? I'm Chi Nan, the deputy manager of the Everlasting Feast Hall's Shanghai branch. According to our Everlasting Feast Hall's custom, the person in charge must toast with every honorable guest who comes to dine at the restaurant. And Boss Miao, you're a VIP among VIPs here, said Chi Nan with a smile. Miao Wendong himself knew what the toast was. However, as he got up and shook hands with Chi Nan, he asked with a puzzlement, Chief Chi, what's the meaning with this VIP among VIPs? I only know that the Everlasting Feast Hall does have honorable guests, but I don't understand about this VIP among VIPs thing. Our HQ in Jingmen Island has relayed the news that you and Boss Xiaomingzhen are our Everlasting Feast Hall's special honorable guests. Since you both are our boss's friends, said Chi Nan with a smile. Your boss? Gu Xiaoxue, asked Miao Wendong, astounded. No, Chi Nan shook her head and smiled, it's our Everlasting Feast Hall's new boss, Tang Xiu. Tang Xiu? His tone increased in volume as a burst of disbelief shot out from his eyes. He knew perfectly clear about what kind of existence the Everlasting Feast Hall was. He couldn't figure out the depths of Gu Xiaoxue's strength. However, Tang Xiu did break through the 1,000 revolution array of the Everlasting Feast Hall. But, how would he inexplicably become its owner? Miao Wendong suddenly realized that what he knew about Tang Xiu was unexpectedly minute. Yet, at the moment, he at last realized as to why he could somehow become a VIP among VIPs in the Everlasting Feast Hall. After opening a bottle of wine, Chi Nan filled up their glasses and said with a smile, Boss Miao and other bosses, I propose 3 cups of toast to all of you. I hope that you can enjoy your time here in our Everlasting Feast Hall. Cheers. Come. After finishing 3 glasses of wine, Miao Wendong forced a smile and said, I never imagined that Brother Tang would become the Everlasting Feast Hall's boss. Prior to this, I already knew that he was very powerful and mysterious. Yet, it seems I have underestimated him way too much. I dare not think what kind of high achievements he will achieve in the future. Our boss is naturally a dragon amongst men. It's guaranteed that he'll have high achievements in the future, said Chi Nan with a smile. Zhang Yuming was the boss of Shanghai's Xinyang Group, with total assets of tens of billions, and the vice president of the Shanghai Chamber of Commerce. He was someone of a very high status. At this time, with an astounded expression, he inquired, Chief Chi, we have been in Shanghai for a long time, yet we weren't particularly aware of the Everlasting Feast Hall. Could you please tell us what this Everlasting Feast Hall's VIP among VIPs is all about? About this issue, Boss Meow himself would be better to tell you. Anyway, I still have other things to attend to, so I won't disturb your dinner any longer. Please excuse me. Having said that, Chi Nan smiled and turned around to leave. Old Meow, care to tell me about it? Asked Zhang Yuming as he looked at Meow Wentong. You all only know me as businessman, but neither of you knows that I'm also a martial artist, right? The Everlasting Feast Hall's HQ is in Jingmen Island, and even though the enterprise is usually low-key, however, it has a solid foundation and is unfathomably deep. Their HQ's manor resort is equipped with formation array called Thousand Revolution Array. This array. A few minutes later, the other three men understood the bottom of the story from Meow Wentong. They were astonished and filled with a keen interest toward the mysterious Everlasting Feast Hall. Looking at the three men's expression, Meow Wentong laughed. It's fine for you to know this, but please never spread it out. Although it's not really a secret, in the case that a lot of martial artists jack of all trades and master of none are attracted and try to break through the array, their lives will be easily ruined. Relax, we understand. But this Tang Xiu, the owner of this Everlasting Feast Hall, who's he exactly? Listening to your conversation with Chief Chi, your relationship with him is rather unordinary, said Zhang Yuming. Looking solemn and staying silent for a moment, Meow Wentong then seriously said, Gentlemen, Tang Xiu is indeed a friend of mine. We met in Jingmen Island and then went through several matters together, for which we then developed a very good friendship. But in a few words, he saved my life. We have known each other for 2 decades, so I'll give you a thorough understanding of the true story. Please do tell, said Zhang Yuming. Tang Xiu is a very powerful person. As to how powerful he is, even I have some dread of him. He's also very mysterious, and each contact with him always gives me a great shock. As far as I know, he will be studying at Shanghai University this year, so he should be in Shanghai by now. I hope all of you, as Shanghai's local bosses, don't provoke him, or else I'm afraid you'll face a miserable fate, said Meow Wentong. Zhang Yuming was stunned as he couldn't help laughing. I say, Old Meow, you're kidding me, right? This Tang Xiu you just told me about is only a freshman student? Gu Changmin, the boss of Dingshan Media, also laughed. That's right. Old Meow, you're speaking like that for fun, right? How powerful can a high schooler be? The powerful ones are the elders of his family, right? Looking at the both of them, Meow Wentong was at a loss whether he had to cry or laugh. He slightly frowned upon seeing their disbelieving expressions. However, when he looked at his other old friend, the boss of Jinda Estate, Jin Shinkue, he was a bit surprised, because Jin Shinkue looked pensive and was frowning tightly at the moment. Suddenly, Jin Shinkue said, Brother Meow, since you are friends with Mr. Tang, is there any of you introducing us? Don't worry, though. I won't let you down. I'll give you my Qilin Jade when you visit my place later. Meow Wentong waved his hand. Although I do covet your Qilin Jade, I can't accept it for this matter. We have been friends for many years, so I'll help introduce you to him should the chance arise later. Thanks, said Jin Shinkue seriously. Zhang Yuming stared blankly, whereas Gu Changmin revealed a puzzled expression as he said, Brother Jin, you are? No asking, please. Besides, I dare not tell you about this. You two don't believe Brother Meow's story. But if one day you or someone in your family provokes Tang Xiu, I'm really afraid that you'll meet a very miserable fate. Zhang Yuming exchanged looks with Gu Changmin as both revealed shocked expressions at the same time. Were it only Meow Wentong saying this they may not believe it, but coupled with Jin Shinkue, they'd rather believe it than not. With all that said, then that young man was truly frightening? The two men fell into silence for a period of time as they then nodded in succession, indicating that they would pay attention to the matter in the future. As for Meow Wentong, he was very curious as to how Jin Shinkue knew about Tang Xiu. He secretly made up his mind to find a chance to ask Jin Shinkue after the dinner was over. After all, it was about Tang Xiu, and he really wanted to know more about him. All right. Come, come. Let's drink. After putting the idea in the back of his mind, Miao Wendong smiled and raised his glass. Chapter 328, Acting According to the Circumstances. At the first-floor hall of Everlasting Feast Hall, Tang Xiu and Hu Qingsong had yet to enjoy their meal. Shortly after, Han Qingwu arrived carrying a bag. She was prettily dressed up in a floral dress, high heels, and light makeup. You unexpectedly picked good dishes, Han Qingwu smiled and sat beside Tang Xiu. We just arrived and ordered the dishes after calculating the time of your arrival, Tang Xiu said. Teacher Han, you haven't told me. How did you suddenly transfer to Shanghai University? My father had a job transfer to Shanghai, and it's been 2 months already. So my family followed him and moved to Shanghai, laughed Han Qingwu. Staying by myself in Star City was boring, so I asked my father to use his personal network. Coupled with my outstanding performance of teaching the CET's top scorer this year, my transfer to Shanghai University was very smooth. Hence, I more or less benefited from your limelight. Tang Xiu didn't say anything, because he knew that it was just excuses. For her to be able to work in Shanghai University meant that she was outstanding, whereas she also didn't have to use her family's connections. Damn, eldest brother Tang is really lucky to continue with your teacher in charge in Shanghai University. Hu Qingsong turned rather jealous, saying, I can tell that it won't long before these fine deeds will be known to the class. As long as you don't let your imagination run wild and talk irresponsibly, it will be fine, said Tang Xiu humorlessly. That's true, Han Qingwu said with a smiling expression. The relationship between Tang Xiu and me is a pure teacher-student relationship. Whoever let their imagination run wild and speak irresponsibly are those who have way too many impure thoughts. Besides, I'm way older than you. It's needless to say that, Teacher Han. The relationship between you two is way too special, so it's normal that others would find it intriguing, Hu Qingsong giddily said. Moreover, marrying an older woman is just like holding a gold brick. Besides, looking at your appearance, regardless of how old you are, your real age won't differ much from ours, no? So it's kinda appropriate if a student marries you. You don't know it yet, but I heard that Yu Kai even declared to pursue you when he first saw you. Han Qingwu couldn't help chuckling as she said with a smile, you boys truly must study well on campus and not lose yourselves in wild thoughts. Teacher Han, entering university is equivalent to stepping into society, Hu Qingsong replied in all seriousness. Have you ever heard that university is like a miniature society, where one begin their new starting point in life? Not only that, they will also experience the endpoint when they finished it. It seems that even university students are eligible to marry, right? Without a career, do you want to rely on your parents to support your wife? Retorted Han Qingwu with a smile. Arg. Hu Qingsong's expression froze as he no longer spoke, embarrassed. All right, let's cut this topic, Tang Xiu smiled and said, let us have a meal while chatting. Halfway through the dinner, 10 minutes later, Han Qingwu seemed tired as she put down her chopsticks, rubbed her shoulders and then said, prior to this, I felt that being a university teacher was very relaxed. Having very few classes weekly, and most of the rest of the time was free. But since I've been to the office, I just realized that it was not all. Preparing content for university classes are way more difficult than preparing high school lessons. Moreover, I've been busy trying to find a house, wandering around Shanghai every day. It's been more than a month and it's my first time eating in an upscale restaurant in Shanghai. You're looking for a house? Tang Xiu was surprised and asked, didn't your family move to Shanghai? You don't live with them? Nope. I'm a grown-up, Han Qingwu shook her head and said, I don't want to live with my parents. Hearing it, Tang Xiu nodded and said, so, you haven't found a house yet? How can it be that easy? Han Qingwu forced a smile and said, house prices in Shanghai are way too high. An ordinary single-room flat or a house costs several thousand yuans monthly. It's somewhat cheaper if we pick somewhere remote, but it'll be rather far from Shanghai University and inconvenient for work. Besides, we also have to pay water, electricity, gas, and phone monthly bills, etc. Mix those all together and I won't have much left of my monthly salary. But the salary of Shanghai University's teachers shouldn't be low, right? Asked Tang Xiu, astonished. Han Qingwu forced a wry smile and said, what is not low? It's just 10,000 yuan monthly. I'm afraid I can't survive living in this place. After doing some calculations, Tang Xiu could tell that the matter was really true. With several thousand for rent, plus all sorts of miscellaneous expenses, living here did require a lot of money. Not to mention that women had to buy clothes and whatnot. There really wouldn't be much left from the 10,000 yuan. Thinking up to there, he recalled that he also had several real estates in Shanghai. Excluding the villa in Blue Star Villa Complex, there was another real estate not too far away from Shanghai University. The distance was only little more than 20 kilometers away. After pondering for a moment, Tang Xiu said, Teacher Han, how about I give you a hand? I happen to have a friend who just bought a house in Shanghai. But he must go abroad, so the house is currently unoccupied. He won't sell the house for the foreseeable future since he wants to wait for the house's price to rise in value before selling it. Do you want to live there? Han Qingwu was surprised for a moment, before quickly asking, is it near Shanghai University? How much is the rent? It's a little more than 20 kilometers away from Shanghai University. About the distance, it's not far considering it's in a big city like Shanghai. As for the rent, it doesn't matter since I have a good relationship with him, so I can do whatever I want, said Tang Xiu. It's quite close, said Han Qingwu as she probed, but can I pay 3,000 for the rent? I can't afford it if it's more than that. No problem, laughed Tang Xiu as he said, he actually wanted to find someone to look after the house for him. It's fine however much money you want to pay. If you really decided to take it, I'll ask the keys from him tomorrow, and I'll take you there tomorrow afternoon. If you're content with the place, you can stay there later. Tang Xiu, you're really my lucky star. Han Qingwu slapped her thigh and cheerfully said, Ah, right. What about the house? How big and how many rooms does it have? I don't know the details, laughed Tang Xiu as he said, we'll find out tomorrow. All right. Han Qingwu quickly said. The Everlasting Feast Hall's Shanghai branch business was booming. Qinan was in the office for a while and she couldn't sit still. She was a very mobile and active woman. Nesting herself in Shanghai's Everlasting Feast Hall made her body very uncomfortable, and staying in the office was like a torture. She wandered and circled around twice upstairs before coming back to the first floor. Shaking her head in front of the bar and looking at the busy staff, she then picked her mobile out of boredom and dialed her immediate superior's cell number. Lily sis, are you busy? Nope. Tian Li's voice was heard on the phone. While leaning on the bar, Qinan yawned and said, Lily sis, if you're not busy, why don't you come back to Shanghai? I'm bored here. If you don't want to stay in Shanghai, then I'll send someone to take over your job, Tian Li said. Regardless of our Jingmen Islands HQ, Hong Kong, and Beijing, some people have secretly contacted me, wanting to transfer to Shanghai. Qinan stared blankly for a moment, confused. They want to transfer to Shanghai? Do they have any problem? I've spent 3 years in Shanghai and my body and bones are almost rusty. If it continues like this, I dare say I'm going to fall into depression here. If you feel like that, it's decided then, Tian Li slightly laughed and said, I'll have you transferred within a few days and leave the great opportunity in Shanghai to the others. Wait, Lily sis. What's this great opportunity you're talking about? Asked Qinan quickly. It's nothing, laughed Tian Li, it's just that boss has gone to Shanghai University to study. He should have arrived in Shanghai recently and will inspect our Everlasting Feast Hall. The four of us have already had our opportunity, and now my strength increased. Originally, I was thinking that if you can serve the boss, you could perhaps obtain a chance too. But heck, since you want to transfer, then I can only leave this opportunity to the others.
Ah.
I really have a pig's brain. No, Lily sis, don't transfer me. Though this place is boring and drives me crazy, I'll keep staying here. Right, no problem. I'll definitely manage the Everlasting Feast Hall's affairs and organize it well. By the way, sis, I saw a new Hermes bag a few days ago. I feel that it will look good on you, so I'll take the time to buy and send it to you, said Chi-Nan in an obsequious tone.
Ah.
Tianli smiled and laughed. I love Hermes bags. I'll certainly buy it for you, Chi-Nan quickly said. She had yet to finish her words when she saw two young men and a woman coming closer as her vision eventually fixated on the handsome youth. In a flash, she raised her hand to rub her eyes and murmured, Lily sis, I'm gonna see boss first. What did you say? Boss is going to the restaurant? Tianli quickly asked. I'm not sure, said Chi-Nan quickly, I'll hang up first and contact you later. Having said that, she quickly ended the call and then opened the photo gallery on her mobile. After enlarging and contrasting it, she immediately determined that the young man was her boss. At the corridor. While maintaining her smiling expression, Han Qinggu said, You two don't have to snatch the honor for paying the bill today. If you want to invite me to a meal later, let's have it in the campus cafeteria. No, Teacher Han, Hu Qingsong shook his head and said, It's not appropriate for you to say that. Though we are poor students, it's fine with us to pay. Besides, we are men. How can we allow a lady to spend her money? Leave that male chauvinism of yours, will you, laughed Han Qinggu and continued, I'm the one who invited you to dinner, so it's no problem. If you want to show off, wait until you start working and make some money later. Then you can treat me in a place of your picking. Okay, say no more you two, said Tang Xiu with a smile, I picked this place, so I'm the one who'll pay the bill. Although I'm quite poor, I can still afford it. Hi, boss. A smell of perfume drifted over as Chi-Nan appeared with a bright smile on her face. Chapter 329, Just This Once. Tang Xiu slightly frowned, since he didn't expect someone from Shanghai's Everlasting Feast Hall would actually recognize him. Though he knew the Everlasting Feast Hall's HQ in Jingmen Island should have forwarded his photo to the core members, but this was way too coincidental, right? Han Qinggu glanced at Tang Xiu and Chi-Nan. With a bewildered look on her beautiful face, she asked, What did you call Tang Xiu? Boss? Teacher Han, many restaurants' attendants call their guests boss, Hu Qingsong grinned, I often encounter this situation. By the way, pretty woman, we are students, not bosses. Chi-Nan was startled for a moment. With her smooth and slick nature in dealing with all social situations, she was exceptionally astute. Judging from the slight frown on Tang Xiu's face, she knew she had misstepped. It seemed like her boss didn't want the two to know his identity. Therefore, she swiftly responded with a smile, in her eyes, every visitor who comes to our Everlasting Feast Hall is a boss. The reason why I stopped you was because I wanted to inform you something. We have a custom here, the 201st guest of the day gets a discount. Congratulations, you're our 201st visitor today. You have this kind of custom? Hu Qingsong was astounded. Yes. Inadvertently glancing at Tang Xiu, Chi-Nan found that Tang Xiu was no longer knitting his brows and immediately replied with a smile. Taking out his wallet, Tang Xiu took a bank card and gave it to Chi-Nan and said with a smile, Seems like our luck is rather good. Please swipe this card for the bill. All right. Everyone, please wait a bit. Taking the bank card, Chi-Nan turned around and walked toward the counter. Eldest brother Tang, hanging out with you is quite lucky, Hu Qingsong exclaimed. We even chanced upon such a good discount in this upscale restaurant. Later, when we don't have money to eat, We gotta run to this everlasting feast hall and squat down in front of the entrance. We gotta carefully count the visitors. After the 200th guests pay up, we then pay our bill and leave. Tang Xiu couldn't help laughing. Ain't it the same as filling your belly for free? I estimate that even with the discount, it would be more expensive than buying toe pancakes and a pack of pickles. Hu Qingsong chuckled to himself, that's true. As for Han Qingwu, she looked at Qinan's back with a strange expression before her sight fell on Tang Xiu's calm face. Inside, she suddenly recalled her bosom friend's remark. Could it be that Tang Xiu's identity was really not simple? However, she knew his family situation. In particular, she had investigated it for a long period of time more than a year ago. She even realized that Tang Xiu's family was rather destitute. Hence, she and her colleagues secretly went to visit and eat in Tang Xiu's family restaurant, ordering a lot of food on purpose and helping their family business. But that woman just now was unlikely to be just an attendant. Even after pondering about it for a while, Han Qingwu was still baffled. She shook her head and no longer kept such wild thoughts. Unaware of what was inside Han Qingwu's mind, Tang Xiu looked at Qinan and said, Teacher Han, you and Hu Qingsong go over first. I'll be signing the bill. I'll stay with you, said Han Qingwu quickly. No, Tang Xiu said with a smile, I'll sign the bill and then we'll leave together. After hesitating for a moment, Han Qingwu nodded, all right. After that, Tang Xiu went to the counter, entered the PIN and signed the bill. Then he calmly said, Are you the manager here? Yes, answered Qinan softly. They are my classmate and teacher who come out together with me tonight, said Tang Xiu and continued, Fortunately, you reacted quickly, or else my identity would have been exposed. Upon hearing Tang Xiu's words, Qinan immediately felt happy. She quickly glanced at Han Qingwu and Hu Qingsong as she slightly moved her body, and then spoke the moment she obstructed Tang Xiu. Do you have any instructions, boss? No instruction. Just do what you usually do. Got it. Anyhow, your friend is currently dining in the VIP lounge on the 4th floor, said Qinan. Friend? Who is it? Asked Tang Xiu, surprised. Miao Wendong, said Qinan. After thinking for a moment, Tang Xiu said in low voice, Is he alone or is he with friends? With friends. Some Shanghai bigwigs, said Qinan. If so, I'll send off my classmate and teacher first. Go greet Miao Wendong after his party's over and tell him to wait for me. If it doesn't end soon, tell him I'll visit him later, since I need to discuss something with him, said Tang Xiu. Shall I tell him about it in advance? Asked Qinan. No, said Tang Xiu. Quickly, Tang Xiu put his bank card into his pocket and then returned to Han Qingwu and Hu Qingsong. Then, he said with a smile, the meal is rather affordable, let's go. Just at this moment, he got a text message on his mobile. Qinan charged 1 yuan from his card. A moment after, as the trio left the restaurant, Han Qingwu smiled and said, I drove a car here, so I can send you back to campus. Right, you just arrived in Shanghai today, right? Have you seen the night view of the Huangpu River? Nope, Hu Qingsong shook his head and said, I've never seen it. Since we'll happen to pass it by, I'll take you there to see it, said Han Qingwu with a smile. Teacher Han, I've seen it last night so I won't go today. Also, I have an elder in Shanghai and I promised him to stay at his place tonight. So you just send Qingsong back to campus. I'll take a cab and go straight to my relative's home. A relative? Han Qingwu looked at Tang Xiu in astonishment. She then nodded and said, Be careful then. Although Shanghai has good public security, but going alone outside, especially at night, some unexpected accidents somehow still happen. Okay. Tang Xiu laughed and said, I'm not a kid anymore, so don't worry. In next to no time, Han Qingwu drove away with Hu Qingsong as Tang Xiu walked toward the other side. In order to avoid encountering Han Qingwu from returning, He deliberately circumnavigated the everlasting feast hall before coming back. Boss. Qi Nan respectfully called Tang Shou upon seeing him back. Nodding to her in response, Tang Shou said, "Get me 2 bottles of fine wine and take me to the VIP lounge on the 4th floor." "Okay, please wait." Qi Nan strode toward the elevator. 2 minutes later, she came back carrying 2 beautifully packaged wine bottles, as she then said with a smile, "This is the finest wine in my collection. It's much better than wine I sent to the 4th floor lounge before." Having a look at it, Tang Shou nodded and laughed, "This will do. Let's go." Knock, knock. The VIP lounge's door on the 4th floor was knocked by Qi Nan. After that, she gently opened the door. Looking at Miao Wentong, who was chatting with his 3 friends, she then chuckled and said, "Gentlemen, I apologize for disturbing you again." Miao Wentong stood up and was about to speak when he saw Tang Shou coming inside behind Qi Nan. A pleasantly surprised expression showed on his face as he smiled, "Brother Tang, we were just talking about you. I didn't expect for you to come here. Come in, quickly." "Did I disturb you?" asked Tang Shou with a smile. "No, no." Miao Wentong laughed and said, "These 3 are my old buddies, and they also want to get to know you. They will be very happy knowing you're here. Come, I'll introduce you to them. This is Zhang Yuming, the Xinyang Group's boss. This one is Gu Changmin, the Dingshan Media's boss, and this one is Jin Xinkue, the Jinda Estate's boss. We are old buddies for more than 2 decades." Tang Shou smiled and shook hands with the 3 men before taking a seat under Miao Wentong's warm greeting. In contrast, Qi Nan was like an attendant as she personally opened the bottle of wine and filled Tang Shou's glass to the full. "I welcome you to the everlasting feast hall today. It was destined meeting you, so we can say that there is a fate between us. This banquet will be on me. I hope you can come and support our everlasting feast hall later." Tang Shou raised his glass and said with a smile. "Boss Tang is polite." Jin Xinkue was the first to speak. Nodding and smiling at him in response, Tang Shou looked at Miao Wenong and said, "I originally came to have a meal here tonight, but didn't expect that you would also be here. How are you suddenly in Shanghai?" "Brother Tang, it's like you don't know me. There's a several years event of wine tasting conference here. For such important event, I naturally must attend it hopes of tasting a new fine product. Anyhow, how did you turn into the restaurant's new owner? It's a long story. We'll talk about it some other time. But speaking about that wine tasting conference, I can assure you that you will chance upon a new good one this year." Surprised, Miao Wentong said, "What do you mean? Don't tell me you know that a new good product will appear there? I set up a winery recently. Although I delegated the management to another person, I personally made the formula. Just wait until the wine tasting conference, I'm sure you'll be pleasantly surprised." With a strange tone, Miao Wentong said, "I did hear you saying you would brew wine. But I never thought that you would actually set up a winery, though. If the wine produced by your winery is really good, I'll help you contact a few wine wholesalers, so you don't have to worry about the sales issues." Tang Shou shook his head and said, "I have to decline your offer. We'll distribute our wine with our own exclusive agents that will be opened in the major cities in the country." "You seem very confident, Brother Tang," laughed Miao Wendong. Jin Xinkue suddenly interrupted, "Brother Tang, since you have a wine business, whereas I myself am a good wine lover, I would like to order a batch of it in advance from you. As for the amount, how about 50 million? "What?" Miao Wentong was stupefied. Zhang Yuming and Gu Changmin were also dumbfounded. What was this? How and where would Jin Xinkue sell it? This was obviously a naked attempt to curry favor. Tang Shou fell into silence for a moment, before he grinned and replied, "I didn't originally have this intention. But since Boss Jin has spoken, it would be rude of me to refuse it. The price per bottle is 10,000 yuan, but I'll make an exception and give you a 20% discount. We'll have an agreement first, just this once." Chapter 330, Ordering in Advance. Jin Shinkue didn't care about the price. What he cared about was building a good relationship. The others might not know how horrifying Tang Xiu was, but he knew perfectly well that, for him, having a good relationship with Tang Xiu wouldn't be harmful to him even if he couldn't get any benefits from it. Okay. Let's do it according to Boss Tang's call. Boss Jin is truly straightforward. I never imagined I would get acquainted with such a frank person when I just arrived in Shanghai. If you don't mind, just call me Tang Xiu. Or just like Brother Miao calls me will do. Laughed Tang Xiu. Overjoyed, Jin Shinkue quickly got up and grabbed a wine bottle. He filled Tang Xiu's glass and amiably laughed. Well, thanks for regarding me this high, Brother Tang. This might be our first time meeting each other, but I had the feeling of meeting an old friend the first time I saw you, Brother Tang. Come, let's drink a cup. Tang Xiu didn't refuse. He toasted with Jin Shinkue and gulped his wine down. Regarding Jin Shinkue's naked flattery, Jiang Yuming and Gu Changmin were bewildered. They truly couldn't see through as to why Jin Shinkue, who was a very affluent figure in Shanghai, would unexpectedly show such goodwill toward Tang Xiu. He even seemed to be lowering himself in doing it. Did he know something? They were both perceptive persons. Even though it was hard for them to guess it, but inside, they decided to observe Tang Xiu more intensely. While holding up his glass, Jiang Yuming said, Boss Tang, Brother Jin has always been someone with vision. Since he has ordered a lot of wine from you, he should be benefiting from your limelight. I also want to order 50 million, would it be fine with you? I also want to order 50 million in advance, said Gu Changmin. No problem, laughed Tang Xiu and said, the three of you can contact Kong Xia, the general manager of our magnificent Tang Corporation. I will call her about this in advance. The magnificent Tang Corp? Kong Xia? Jiang Yuming and Gu Changmin exclaimed in alarm. Even Jin Shinkue was stunned, disbelief showing on his face. They all knew the famous business genius Kong Xia who suddenly went to Shuangqing Province's Star City to set up a corporation. Allegedly, the capital investment was not small either. Yet, they never imagined that Kong Xia turned out to be working for Tang Xiu. They were very sure that, if this news were to come out, perhaps tomorrow's headlines of major financial and economics medias would definitely cover this young man's profile. It seems you didn't know about it, laughed Miao Wenong and said, that's right. This Brother Tang is simply someone who asks others to work but does nothing himself. He doesn't manage the issues in the magnificent Tang Corp normally. You all know about my investment in the new city development in Star City, right? In fact, the development project coordinator is Brother Tang himself, whereas the rest are just shareholders who are making money alongside him to support their families. Stunned, Jiang Yuming, Gu Changmin, and Jin Shinkue were once again hit by heavy news. They naturally knew the large-scale construction project in Star City, especially that complex architectural design. They had their eyes straight when they looked at it, wishing that they could put all of their capital to participate in it to grab some of the cake. What were their identities? What kind of insight and vision did they have? But how could they not be able to foresee the huge profits contained in such a big project? Only, they never imagined that such a big project, with allegedly 100 billion of total investment, which they couldn't participate in, turned out to be coordinated by this young man before them. Jiang Yueming's lips twitched a few times as he raised his thumb and exclaimed, Boss Tang, you really make us feel ashamed. We've been painstakingly working hard for decades, and even though we did have accumulate a lot of money, yet we are not as daring as you to play in such a big way. Gentlemen, let's not talk about business. I'm actually a newborn calf who isn't afraid of a tiger. Even if I were to fail, I can start all over again. Come, let me toast a cup to show my respect to you, said Tang Xiu with a smile. Come. Cheers. The five gulped down the wine in their glasses. Immediately after, Tang Xiu stood up and said with a smile, Gentlemen, I still have other things to do, so I won't disturb your party. Thank you for joining in today. I'll make sure to instruct Chi Nan to send you the best wine. Big Brother Meow, please come to the restaurant office after you're done. I have something to discuss with you. No problem, said Meow Wentong with a smile. After that, Tang Xiu and Chi Nan left the VIP lounge and headed straight to the restaurant's general manager office. When he sat down on the sofa, Chi Nan, who had a very good eye for good tea, personally served a pot of tea to Tang Xiu. After he drank the tea, Tang Xiu waved his hand, hinting for her to sit on the sofa, and asked, I haven't asked. What's your name? It's Chi Nan, boss. Chi for, arriving late, and Nan for Chinese cedar tree, said Chi Nan respectfully. It seems that you're also a core member of the Everlasting Feast Hall, right? Otherwise, you shouldn't have seen my photo, said Tang Xiu with a smile. Yes. Chi Nan said, although I joined the Everlasting Feast Hall a few years later than Tian Li and Hao Lei, but I was also brought up by the boss and she also imparted me my martial skills. You seem to be afraid of me, laughed Tang Xiu. You're the boss, the one who we pledged our loyalty to, said Chi Nan as she hesitated, so it's a given that I'm afraid of you. Don't be. I'm not a big tiger nor am I an evil murderer, laughed Tang Xiu and said, in fact, I also hope to become friends with you so we can become close comrades. Chi Nan lowered her head and didn't speak. Tang Xiu looked at her and said, well, you don't need to wear such a cautious and solemn face in front of me. I always treat my own people sincerely since I want to be their close comrade. Hence, I'll sincerely regard you as my closest comrade as long as you do the same. Is that true? Asked Chi Nan as she looked up. Of course it's true, said Tang Xiu with a smile, although I have always been merciless and ruthless to my enemies, I always treat my own people sincerely. The world is way too complicated as it is, and it's not easy having my own people. Hence, I cherish talented people very much. As far as it's concerned, you're a very smart and talented person. Feeling happy inside, Chi Nan smiled, praising me like this will make me proud, boss. Tang Xiu couldn't help laughing, it doesn't matter if you're proud, but don't become arrogant. No worries, boss. I know it well, said Chi Nan with a smile. Nodding to her in response, Tang Xiu then waved his hand, all right, go busy yourself. I'll be here for a while. After Meow Wentong is done with his stuff, guide him here directly. Understood. Chi Nan nodded as she got up and left the office. At the VIP lounge on the 4th floor. After Tang Xiu left, Zhang Yuming finally couldn't help looking at Jin Xinkue and asked out of curiosity, Brother Jin, why did you act like that? I know that you wanted to get acquainted with Tang Xiu, yet it shouldn't be that obvious, no? You don't understand, said Jin Xinkue with a smile out of his good mood. Brother Jin, we're not strangers. You've just seen that Tang Xiu has a good personality and is easy to get along with. So, tell us. What reason did you have to even make to so anxiously build a good relationship with Tang Xiu? Hesitating, Jin Xinkue looked at Meow Wentong. The latter was silent for a moment, as he then slowly said, Brother Jin, since Brother Jean asked about it, just tell him. I might know a lot about Tang Xiu, but I don't know that much. We promise you that we will never disclose half a word of anything you say today. That's right. Zhang Yuming quickly nodded and said, we'll absolutely keep it to ourselves. Only the 4 of us who will know this matter. Gu Changmin, who was also eager to know the whole story, followed, don't worry buddy, I'm not a talkative person. A forced wry smile appeared on Jin Xinkue's face as he said, since you all said so, I won't conceal it anymore. However, this is a very important matter. If it were to be spread out, I'm afraid that I won't be able to trust you again later. Rest assured, said Meow Wentong. With a solemn face, Jin Xinkue said, you should all know Wanyuan Estate's boss, Chen Jianye in Hong Kong, right? I know him, said Meow Wentong, he's a rather affluent figure. Brother Jing, isn't he your cousin? Asked Zhang Yuming, surprised. Yes, he's indeed my cousin from my paternal aunt. But a month ago in Hong Kong, he had an accident. Laughed Jin Xinkue bitterly. Was it related with Tang Xiu? Asked Zhang Yuming with a flickering expression. Yes. Jin Xinkue nodded and said, it was because of my nephew. He offended Tang Xiu and was beaten up as a result. The Everlasting Feast Hall there even caught him. That cousin of mine, as headstrong as he is, had a conflict with the Everlasting Feast Hall's people, and Tang Xiu was also there at that time. It was what he did back then that makes me scared. What happened exactly? Asked Zhang Yuming hastily. Don't be anxious, will you? Jin Xinkue growled in a low voice and said, just listen and I'll tell you slowly. The ones who offended Tang Xiu were originally 4 young men, namely. About 4 or 5 minutes later, Jin Xinkue had told the whole story. At the end, he smiled bitterly and said, the Wanyuan estate had to pay 49% of their shares as compensation, and most of my cousin's underlings, who he had painstakingly nurtured, were killed, whereas the others were just as bad. You tell me, is Tang Xiu a fearsome character or not? He's horrifying. Zhang Yuming and Gu Chengmin gulped down a mouthful of saliva. Their voices quivered a bit. Even in their dreams, never did they thought that the Everlasting Feast Hall would have such powerful force. Moreover, they never imagined Tang Xiu would be so ruthless. It was hundreds of lives. He also killed many people just by ordering it. If it was only the Everlasting Feast Hall's security guards, I wouldn't have been so afraid of him, Jin Xinkue sighed and said, but according to my cousin, Tang Xiu also acted and killed more than 20 by himself. A single man against than 20 people. So terrifying? Zhang Yuming and Gu Chengmin were already shaken to the point that it was hard for them to digest more. Yet, Miao Wentong was only a bit surprised. He knew about Tang Xiu's strength. Even though he didn't know how much progress Tang Xiu had in the last 2 or 3 months, but considering his previous ability, killing 20 ordinary people was a cinch for him.